Literacy at Hannah Woods Academy. The first thing to think about when considering literacy is to prioritise disciplinary literacy across the curriculum. Literacy is key to learning across all subjects in secondary school and a strong predictor of outcomes in later life. Disciplinary literacy is an approach to improving literacy across the curriculum that emphasises the importance of subject-specific support. All teachers should be supported to understand how to teach students to read, write, and communicate effectively in their subjects. School leaders can help teachers by ensuring training related to literacy prioritises subject specificity over general approaches. You should also provide targeted vocabulary instruction in every subject. Teachers in every subject should provide explicit vocabulary instruction to help students access and use academic language. You should provide effective approaches, including those related to etymology and morphology, will help students remember new words and make connections between words. Teachers should prioritise teaching Tier 2 and 3 vocabulary, which students are unlikely to encounter in everyday speech. Teachers and subject leaders should consider which words and phrases to teach as part of the curriculum planning. When teaching, you should develop students' ability to read complex academic texts. Training focused on teaching reading is likely to help secondary school teachers teach their subject more effectively. To comprehend complex texts, students need to actively engage with what they are reading and use their existing subject knowledge. Reading strategies such as activating prior knowledge, prediction, and questioning can improve students' comprehension. Strategies can be introduced through modelling and group work before support is gradually removed to promote independence. To improve literacy, teachers should break down complex writing tasks. Writing is challenging, and students in every subject will benefit from explicit instruction in how to improve. Teachers can break writing down into planning, monitoring, and evaluation, and can support students by modelling each step. Targeted support should be provided to students who struggle to write fluently, as this may affect the writing quality. And teachers can use a variety of approaches, including collaborative and paired writing, to motivate students to write. Combine writing instruction with reading in every subject. Combining reading activities and writing instruction is likely to improve students' skills in both compared to a less balanced approach. Reading helps students gain knowledge, which leads to better writing, whilst writing can deepen students' understanding of ideas. Students should be taught to recognise features, aims, and conventions of good writing within each subject. Teaching spelling, grammar, and punctuation explicitly can improve students' writing, particularly when focused on meaning. Provide opportunities for structured talk. Talk matters, both in its own right and because of its impact on other aspects of learning. High-quality talk is typically well-structured and guided by teachers. Accountable talk is a useful framework to ensure talk is high quality and emphasises how talk can be subject-specific. Teachers can support students by modelling high-quality talk, for example, including key vocabulary and metacognitive reflection. Assessment. Schools should expect and proactively plan to support students with the weakest levels of literacy, particularly in Year 7. Developing a model of tiered support which increases in intensity in line with need is a promising approach. Assessment should be used to match students to appropriate types of intervention and to monitor the impact of interventions. Creating a coordinated system of support is a significant challenge requiring both specialist input and whole school leadership. Improving literacy in secondary schools. Vocabulary of key literacy terms. Etymology is the study of the origin of words, from etymon, true sense, original meaning, plus logia, study of. Morphology is the study of the structure and parts of the word, from morpho, form or shape, plus logia, study of. Phonology is the study of speech sounds and their meanings in language, from phono, sound or voice, plus logia, study of. Transcription is the physical process of handwriting or typing and spelling from trans across beyond over, plus scribe, to write. Composition is the way something is put together and arranged. In this context, a piece of written work, from com, across, between, plus legion, to speak. Improving literacy in secondary schools. Literacy vignettes. Students begin form time by taking their reading books from their bags. Most students read teen fiction, though some borrow a non-fiction book from their form tutor's box. For 15 minutes, students read in silence. When the bell rings, books are stowed into the bags and they head off to their lessons. Their form tutor, an experienced science teacher, recognizes that reading is intrinsically valuable, but is unsure whether every student is benefiting from the silent reading time. Silent reading is a calm way to start the day, and most students seem to enjoy reading, but she is unsure whether weaker readers use the time well. As a science teacher, she also wonders whether the literacy skills students pick up while reading for pleasure will help them in her subject. Discussion questions. Does silent reading change students' attitudes to literacy or improve their outcomes? How transferable are reading skills? For example, is reading fiction likely to help students understand texts in science? What contribution can non-English teachers make to students' literacy? Nearing the end of term, the class is a little behind on the GCSE course. The teacher asks his students to read the next 4 pages of the textbook to explore the challenges of the human environment, before asking them to make some notes on the chapter. The teacher recognizes that some students are struggling with the academic language and structure of the textbook, but is unsure how best to address their barriers. He recognizes that the complex language of ethnic composition, net migration, and social deprivation is wedded to lots of graphs, images, and linked sources, but he is unsure how best to teach students how to read like geographers, with independence. Discussion questions. How can we best teach students to read complex informational texts? Which reading strategies improve the accessibility of subject-specific texts and genres? How can we support students to become effective independent readers? Students enter the classroom and take out their maths book. They take out their knowledge organizer for the term, a coloured page which includes key mathematical vocabulary and formula for the unit of work the class is studying, and begin reading. Following an established routine, students quiz themselves on a section of mathematical vocabulary before putting their knowledge organizer to one side and beginning their lesson. The teacher is pleased that the knowledge organizers distill key knowledge, including important mathematical terminology. However, she would like to be able to do more to help students remember and understand the terms they are trying to learn. For example, she knows that mathematical terms often have Greek or Latin origins, but is unsure whether explaining this will help students. Discussion questions. How can we ensure that vocabulary instruction is effectively integrated into the classroom teaching? How can we move beyond static word lists to support students to develop a deeper understanding of the meaning and application of words? How can we ensure that subject-specific vocabulary becomes memorable and that students can use new words in writing and talk? Improving literacy in secondary schools, the simple view of reading. Word reading, the ability to recognize, decode, and understand the meaning of individual written words. For example, a pupil with poor word reading may struggle to sound out complex vocabulary in a geography textbook. Language comprehension is a multidimensional process that is used to access the underlying meaning of spoken and written language. This involves the integration of multiple sources of knowledge and skills, including knowledge of word meaning and syntax, and making inferences, e.g., drawing on background knowledge as we listen and read. For example, a student with poor language comprehension may struggle to comprehend the tasks stated on a science worksheet. The simple view of reading emphasizes how word reading and comprehension should be taken into account when assessing reading, when identifying pupils who need support, for targeted interventions, and for monitoring progress.